do you sense sort of a building confidence, not just with the number of wins in a row, but having beat Delaware quality teams?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think we've had a confident team the whole year. They believe in each other. They believe in our system and the coaches. The coaches believe in our players. But we'll find out, this week what kind of team we have. Coming off a big win. How do we respond? Do we continue to do the little things correctly and emphasize those? Attention to detail, our preparation. That's when you're going to find out, what kind of team you got.
Coach, could you speak to the stamina of the defensive line, particularly the interior fellas who seem to be playing a lot of snaps?
Yeah, that's the toughest. Sometimes you get a DB and, and some other places, even offensive line, they can play their 70 plays. But, up front defensively, you're running. You're running a lot. And the two guys, Stoklinski and Mateo Fitz, have done an unbelievable job. And one of them gets a breather. Based on if we go to the horseman package or whatever we go to, one of them gets a breather. But it is tough. They're banging every snap, but then they're running every snap. So proud of those guys. They just got to continue to suck it up.
Bryant is an unfamiliar name for folks down here. Could you give people sort of a thumbnail sketch of what the Bulldogs are?
They're a good quality CAA team. I think they've done a good job of mixing in some transfers in there, and then recruiting good players. Their wideout number 5 was recruited out of high school and tremendous player, and the quarterback was a transfer from Coastal Carolina, tremendous player. So they've done a really good job of mixing it in there, with some transfers and homegrown players that they've signed and brought in, and so they, obviously they're competitive in this league. They've lost a couple, obviously, and it kind of got away from them against Monmouth. But, they're capable of playing with anybody in this league. I don't think there's a question about that.
How do you feel about Bryson Parker's departure? Is it the same thing as Kobe Turner to you and Funderburk, or much different?
Much different. I don't want to speak too much about it. Bryson wanted to preserve his red shirt, and that's fine. Those decisions are made throughout the country. You see it a lot. A lot of people throughout the country are making those decisions, and Bryson made that decision, and I wish him well. And he again, I don't hold it against him for making a decision like that, but those are things that you got to figure out between you and your family, and what's best for you. And Bryson felt like taking the red shirt was best for him, and so. He'll be playing college football somewhere next year. It won't be at the University of Richmond, but he'll be playing college football. He's a good player, a good kid. I know our players loved him.
Having watched the tape of the first half, at least, of Delaware, was it as good as it looked to the rest of us in terms of the way you guys executed as compared to the season up until that point?
I think you said it right, the execution in the first half. We executed really well. Made plays, executed. We protected well. Cam made plays with his legs that kept drives alive. We threw the ball 18 times in the first half and only 5 times in the second half. But you do whatever you got to do to win a football game. Whether you got to run it every snap in the second half to win. That's what we're going to do. And Cam understood that. And Cam, even in the second half, he controlled the offense. Did a lot of good things even in the second. He made a big third down throw in the second half there as he broke the pocket and threw it, kind of in the middle of the field there. So. Just proud of how he handles the offense here. He's doing a really nice job, but yeah, you're right. The execution in the first half was really good.
Have you ever, as a coach, had a 10-minute drive in a game like you all had right when you needed it on Saturday?
Well, yeah. Those happen a lot throughout college football, and says a lot to your offensive line. If you're going to have a 10-minute drive at the end, to try to put the clock away, it's about the offensive line. It's about the running backs. It's even about the quarterback. We had a couple quarterback draws in there that kept a drive alive on third down. So you got to execute those things. You got to milk the clock. Obviously, if we weren't milking the clock, it never gets to 10 minutes. But we were milking the clock and making sure it got all the way down there. And again, Cam did a great job with that. So, yeah, I've seen him quite a bit in college football and in the NFL. But you got to execute to do it.
Camden, can you speak to the mindset among the defensive linemen, given the injuries and the attrition and the number of snaps all of you guys are having to play these days?
Yeah, it's just, all about next man mentality. It's things like injuries. I mean, they're going to happen. Unfortunately, it tend to be the defensive line that took the majority of those injuries this year. But like I said, next man mentality. You just have to be ready. You never know when your time's up, and you just got to be ready to go.
How about as the game progresses, how do you preserve energy? Do you try to sort of save some for the fourth quarter or no?
Well, that's something, we've worked all year long for, being ready to be able to play the long games. And, Coach Brinks gets us prepared. The coaches get us prepared. So there's really no saving energy. You're just out there flying around, and we're prepared to play the whole game.
Could you speak to your decision to stay relatively close to home and come to the University of Richmond from Ashland?
I mean, it's nice, being close to family, being close to friends that are around. I've always envisioned having family come to my games, grandparents, aunts, uncles, everybody, to be able to, be a part of my journey as well. So that was a huge part of my decision to be here.
How much is it kind of a team effort with you defensive ends particularly? I mean, obviously Jeremiah is getting so much attention.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's opening up some things for the rest of you guys?
Oh, for sure. And, as the season goes on, I guess other teams can realize, we have more weapons than just Jeremiah. Of course, he's a fantastic athlete, but, we have weapons all across the board, and I guess that's what kind of makes it difficult for teams to scheme us up, because we got people coming from everywhere.
We didn't know much about Jabbar Hodges. I assume you did. What did you see in him in practices when he was on the scout team that led you to believe he'd have the type of games he's having?
I mean, man, we knew he had a lot of potential. He has great length. He has good speed for his size. Uses his hands well, and, just like I'm saying, he's a tremendous athlete, and I knew from the start that he was going to be something good.
We don't know anything about Bryant. What do you all know about him?
They're tall. They have good size. Yeah.
But as a team and as a unit and as a player, when you don't know all that much about your opponent, what is there to focus on during the week?
Well, we know going into it not to take any team lightly. We're going to treat every single team the same. Just because we're coming off a win against Delaware, who's a great team. Bryant is also a great team. They got a win against Brown, who's a solid team. That's a good program. So we're just going to go into it just like any other game and get after it.
How much of this is about how you guys handle success? We talk about when you have to handle adversity after a loss, but you mentioned big win over Delaware. You can look back and look at maybe a little Delaware State, a little North Carolina A&T. How much of this is about how the Spiders handle success?
Our focus week by week is to get wins, and we're going to prepare each day at practice and, in the film room, getting ourselves as ready as possible for each week. So, just being able to stay level-headed and just not think too far ahead, but also not look back into the past and just focus on the now.
Could you speak to the perhaps growing confidence that comes with a string of victories and a win over Delaware?
Yeah, so we definitely started out a little bit slower than we expected to come out, but I think we just pulled on each other as a team, every position group, really buying into the fact that we need to get this thing going and not really want to start out like last year. So we're just trying to put the pieces together week by week and just ride that wave out.
Parker, this could be sort of a vulnerable week given Delaware in the past, homecoming in the future. How do you avoid a letdown against a team that hasn't been having a great year?
Well, every year, obviously the goal is to make it to the playoffs, win a CAA championship. So, to do that, we know we got to win, especially in this league. Every game is a big game, no matter what. We're going to get everybody shot, and we like to play to a certain standard. So, like I said, if we just meet that standard week in, week out, I think we'll be fine.
Early impressions of Bryant, who people down here don't know a great deal about.
Bryant, they're definitely a good team. Like I said, it's a CAA game, so every CAA opponent is going to be good. Nobody's just a walk in the park, so I think they're a good team. They're good on defense. They got some guys on D-line that I think will be a good test for the offensive line and the guys. And I think we got some guys that we match up with very well, so I think it'll be a good game.
Why has the run game been so good? What are you guys doing up there to free those running backs?
Every week, week in and week out, we got Coach Kennedy, obviously, but I think we really put it upon ourselves to really dominate guys and not just kind of go through the motions with blocking and stuff, because we run the ball a lot. So I think we're really just trying to take it upon ourselves to put it on the offensive line's back and say, hey, let's put it on us, let's get it done every day.
What's kind of the feeling when ZPS breaks one or Andrew King is shifty and makes all of his moves?
It's weird for me because I'm blocking, so I don't know what to expect or anything. So I hear the crowd cheering, and I know our guys are going. So when I see it on film, it's just like, I don't know how you did it, man, but we blocked it up good enough, and you found the right hole. So that's what we keep doing, and that's the chemistry we built over the offseason, bringing them in early. So
You are the frisky sort.
Yes, sir.
Among the offensive line.
Yes, sir.
Why is that? Where did that come from?
Just when I first moved to offensive line, I played D-line in my 10th grade year. So going into 11th grade, I moved to O-line, and that was one of the biggest things that we talked about, getting people on the ground, that I saw a lot of coaches and trainers talking about. So I just took it upon myself to be that same player that I was on defense, but just translated to offensive line, keeping hands inside, but just being that same nasty streak, because a lot of guys play in and play out don't want to play like that. So just trying to force your will.
Having played defense, do you notice tendencies on defensive linemen that tell you what they're thinking about?
Definitely. So I play tackle, so I get to look at a lot of stuff that the receivers are dealing with, that the safeties are doing. So just depending on how the safeties are structured, linebackers, and all that types of stuff, and the tells we get from watching film as a unit, and then with our coach, Coach Kennedy, we definitely pick up on tendencies. And our center, Tom, he's amazing. He knows every blitz they're going to bring. He's really good at putting us on the right people. So we got our system, a way of doing things. So definitely.
How do you feel at the quarterback position? It seems like it's leveled out now with Cam, and we always called him a throwing quarterback. He's proven to you guys he can run a little, isn't he?
Yeah, we always give Cam a little crap about being a little bit slower than Kyle, so it's kind of fun to see him go out there and break a long run like that, and just us protecting, it was a good thing. He saw they brought an overload blitz. We weren't picked up. They brought one more than we had, so he made the right decision and taking off and running with it. So it's good to see him kind of step into his shoes, and like I said, the offense kind of molding more into one unit instead of different puzzle pieces.
Second half, how good did it feel to have that 10-minute drive and milk this thing away in the fourth quarter? I can see the big smile on your face.
Yeah. We talked about it in meetings. It was really fun. I didn't notice. I knew I was tired. We all knew we were tired. But then our guy that does marks the plays on the clipboard, he's like, guys, y'all just did like an 11-minute drive. And I'm like, wait, we did. So it was really fun because we always, as an offensive line, you want to end the game on the field and be able to run the ball in tough situations to bail your team out. So we got the job done. The defense played lights out. They kept putting us on the field, and so yeah, complimentary football.